Yeah, somebody made it. Someone sent it to me and on Instagram, and I thought it was hilarious. Um, and it just reminded me because yeah, our shirt was at the time in the mid to late '80s was like would end up on the back of every like thrash band's you know record, and half the time it was because I sent it to him because we were pen pals and or fans of each other's records, and back then we would tape trade and send stuff back and forth. Other times it was they would buy it from us, and I didn't know that they were in the band, you know. Um, and so yeah, I guess our shirt, like along with like Cryptic Slaughter and I don't know a couple other bands I could think of, became like the kind of like underground cult shirt to have back then, especially because we were Americans. But yeah, it was pretty funny seeing that Instagram profile. I actually met the guy about a year and a half ago, maybe in Portland, Oregon. Final Conflict played a show at with Ostakask, and the guy would happen to be there, like on visiting from France, and so we got to meet him and hang out with him for a while. And it was the first time he had got to see us, and hopefully we didn't suck. So you know, he'd be like, "Oh man, I started this Instagram for these guys, and they fucking suck." But nice guy, really cool, you know. And sometimes like every once in a while when a new picture pops up, it's like, oh, they know who we are. Like, oh, that's nice. So it's cool. It's flattering, you know, that you know somebody would make something like that.
Terroristic uniform, with a duty they perform. Indoctrinating brutal streets, they lower everyone they meet.
Favorite venues? That is a good question. That I don't know. Favorite venues. I really liked going to Perkins Palace. It was an old beat up theater, and I saw some pretty memorable shows there, like Discharge and Suicidal Tendencies. I saw Eistersen Neubauten open up for the Specimen at that place. Um, who else did I see there? Countless shows went on there, but it was like a cool old theater, but had holes kicked in the walls from all the punkers that went in there. um, and a lot of bands played there. I mean, God, the Jam played there. The Go-Go's, before they were signed to a major label, played there. That was a really cool venue. The shows at the Olympic Auditorium in the '80s were wild. It was like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome with a punk show going on in it.
Alright, I've been stripped away by the police and the government's lies.
First album I ever bought was with my own money was probably the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour album, and I bought it at Kmart.
Don't you wish they could be crucified? Don't you wish they could be crucified?
If I got to pick like my all-time faves, like definitely one would be Mike Patton, because he could do it all. He could sing like a soul guy, and he could sing like a thrash guy, and or a hardcore guy. Second, you know, it would definitely be a tie between Rob Halford and Ronnie James Dio. And again, because of that range that they have, like those guys could have done a great punk rock band or a great, you know, heavy metal band. Like I when I listen to like some of like Prime Dio stuff, like the Rainbow stuff and their early solo stuff, man, in everything he did in Heaven and Hell, Sabbath, I mean, just smokes, man. Like, what a fucking voice. And he started as a doo-wop singer.
Yeah.
You know? And then for punk rock, fuck, man, definitely, or just rock, it's got to be Joey Ramone. Might have been Problem Child by Wasted Youth, or That definitely would have been one of them. I remember figuring out Trapped by the Circle Jerks, which is like 3 notes.
They attempt to destroy our rights. We must continue to fight for freedom.
Man, okay. I remember when we got that show, and Big Frank from Zed Records, Nemesis Records, Golden Voice, he called me and he said, Discharge is coming, and Grave New World was already out. And he goes, I want you guys to play. Will you play? And I'm like, yeah, we'll play. He goes, okay. He goes, my goal is, he goes, from what I'm hearing, they are not playing any old stuff on this at all, and on this tour. So I'm going to make the lineup so good so the audience won't be as angry, won't be so bummed out that they don't get what they want from Discharge. And so that the lineup was Dr. No, that was like the Plug-in Jesus era. It was us, Attitude Adjustment, which was the first time they had come to LA, I think, to ever play, and then Cryptic Slaughter. So that's why when you see that flyer and you see the lineup, like, wow, like Cryptic Slaughter's the opening band, like, but it was Frank's intention to kind of just give the audience the best that he could, because Discharge was going to stink it up. And like, man, we saw them at Soundcheck, and yeah, it was just like, okay, they're really doing this, man. Like when Cal started doing those like bad Axl Rose style vocals on the mic, and we were like watching them Soundcheck, like maybe they're gonna bust out something old, and like, nope, they only played Grave New World stuff. And so we did the gig, and a couple people had come up to me like during the show, like, hey, is Discharge gonna play any old stuff? And I was like, I don't think so. Like I go, so we did our set, and the crowd was wild, for everybody, and every band was awesome. I've got some really good soundboard tapes of like Attitude Adjustment set and our set from that night. But when Discharge came on, I'll be honest, like I watched maybe the first half of the first song, and I just was like, I'm out. And I went outside, and I hung outside the whole time. And I heard that they got booed. I heard people were like yelling shit at them. I just couldn't watch it. Like, and in hindsight, and I don't know nor care if anyone agrees with me. I mean, I think Grave New World's a great rock album. The vocals if the vocals had been better, but there's some great tunes on that. But at that time, I mean, this is, I think what, 1986. And that's not what anybody wanted from them. They definitely should have done a name change or something. But I know the following day when they went and played in San Francisco, someone threw a full trash can at them. Those old school tin trash cans that were about like waist high.
Of course.
Someone threw one of those full of garbage at the stage while they played.